Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, and I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, but we are doing another hardware review. And this time we are taking a look at the XReal Air 2 Pro smart glasses. There are two different models of this. There's the XReal Air 2 and the Air 2 Pro. There are a few slight differences, which I'll talk about briefly, but these are not the type of smart glasses that you might think they are. They are not like the Meta Ray-Ban glasses. They're not meant for AI use or something like that. If you're blind and low vision, you want to get descriptions of things. These are, they call them augmented reality glasses, but basically their primary purpose is to basically put a big screen in front of your eyeballs. So if you want to, let's say, watch something in bed, you want to watch a screen, maybe maybe you are in a room where everybody else has the TV, and you want to watch something different, or maybe you're traveling, you're on a bus or a train or plane or something, and you want to watch like a video not on your tiny phone screen, but something, on a giant screen in front of you. That's what these do. And I have really mixed feelings on these. And for people who are just stumbling on this video, this YouTube channel is called Illegally Cited because I am a legally blind / low vision user. So this review is going to be a bit unique compared to everybody else. I will give kind of my general thoughts on them, and I would offer the opinion that I have two different thoughts on them, one in general and one if you are a low vision user. Short answer is, if you are a fully sighted individual, these things are probably going to be pretty great. If you are a low vision user, you will have to do a little bit more thought as to whether you think this might be a device that would work for you. It's going to depend on you, not only your vision acuity, but it's also going to depend on your field of view. Do you have any blind spots? How is your central vision versus your peripheral vision? Because believe me, I found that out the hard way. And while they kind of work for me, unfortunately, they kind of don't. The main reason I bought these is, so a disclaimer as I'm recording this video as well, not only do they have the XReal Air 2 and Air 2 Pros, but they have the XReal 1s, which is one step above. It's, at the time of this video, it's their latest version of these glasses, and they have a couple of additional features like image stabilization and a tiny bit bigger field of view, and I think a couple of other interesting little things that they've moved onto the glasses that they used to have on this optional, not really a puck, but another little hub device. And the main reason I even got these in the first place is I saw on Twitter recently, there was a few days where they had these on sale, literally $150 off. So normally the XReal Air 2 Pros are like $500 or $450. I got them for just under $300. So that is why I picked them up, because again, I looked at these and I thought they had a really neat idea behind them, but I was really skeptical, and it turns out I had a right to be as a low vision user. So let's get into the actual, now that we're done with all the background and disclaimers and such. You get a few different things in the package. You get this kind of cool little like pill-shaped case. It's a hard, kind of a hard plasticky case. And it's, like I said, it's kind of got this pill shape to it. I'm going to try to open this with one hand here. I'm not using my tripod, unfortunately, but come on, there we go. But you see, it's just a nice, simple little case. And if don't throw out the packaging, like it comes in this little weird box that you just sort of unfold and then the case is in there. And in the box, on either side of the case, there are these little there's a little cardboard sheet thing. And on either side, there are these little nose pieces. You have one in the device itself when it comes, and then you have two more, at least, and I've got a couple of them that are kind of wrapped up with each other. But so depending on your face shape, you can swap out these different nose pieces. And for me, ironically, I find that these glasses, they kind of go down on your face a little bit more, but to me, they're more comfortable without any, excuse me, any nose pieces in them. So I like the case. It's got plenty of room for the glasses. You could shove your USB cable in there. You can shove your nose pieces in there if you wanted to. I kind of wish they had like a little compartment where you could, like a little zipper or Velcro thing in there where you could shove the nose pieces so they weren't just freely in there. And then you have the glasses themselves and a USB cord. Now the USB cable you see on this end, it's kind of, you get the little USB connector. It's there. This is a USB-C device. And the one end is a regular USB-C. It just goes straight out. This one, it actually kind of goes down. So it's kind of meant for, this is on your left ear. It just, the USB port will go, behind your left ear, and then the cord sort of angles down. And I've tried this sitting up. I've tried this lying in bed. And you can even lay on your back in bed and you can be totally fine. So that is, basically what you get in the box. I did, because I bought it on Amazon, they had a little bundle thingy where you get a little USB-C pass-through hub kind of a thing. So you could literally plug this end into your glasses. Now that's going to add a little bit more weight because you got this thing hanging off of you. That's the downside. But then you have two USB-Cs, so you can plug in your host device on one of them, and then you can plug in power to the other one, so you could be charging, let's say, your phone or your tablet or your Steam Deck from this type of thing. Now, again, you can also get this sort of this little dock thing, and it's based on Android. I did not opt for that because it was like another little over $100. And now that I have an iPhone 16 Pro Max, because before, when I had a lightning cable, you had to get this, adapter and a dock, and you had this just dongle nightmare of cables and adapters. But now I can literally plug this one cable into my iPhone and it'll work fine. Oh, the other thing that it does come with like a little light shield here, and it does help a little bit. This one, it just kind of magnetically, it just snaps onto the front of the glasses, and that helps block out the real world. So if you don't want to have the real world in your glasses as well as the image, the video or whatever that you're viewing, you can slap those on the front of the glasses, and it actually works quite well. Hardware-wise, again, these are the glasses up front. You see they don't look like a regular pair of glasses. The Meta Ray-Bans do pull off the, hey, look at these are regular glasses look. They pull off that look a bit better. But they're not too bad. They're a little bulkier. They've kind of got this little, I don't know, maybe sci-fi look about them. I don't think they look terrible, but this is coming from someone who, has seen many an assistive technology of the past, 20 years, wearables where, I was talking with a friend of mine about this, and like, Yeah, you remember the Geordie? You remember the big giant like headset that you had to mount on your head? Or, any number of, you're putting on like the phone VR headsets as CCTVs. Now I'm going to try to zoom in here. You can kind of tell on either lens, there's like a little, you have the lenses there, but then that you can see through the real world. But you see, especially on the right piece there, the left piece there, there's like they're little screens. And so they don't take up the whole view, unfortunately. And that's kind of one of my major issues. But that is where your content comes into play. So that is where you're going to see your OLED screen. Now, again, the image is actually quite good for what it is and for what I can see. On the right earpiece, and I should have done this when I had it unfolded, but I'm brilliant and didn't think to. There we go. On the right-hand side, underneath, you've got this button toward the front here, under the bow, or under the side bow here. And this one, if you hit it, it'll cycle between 3 different opacities of the lenses. That's what these are kind of cool. And that is one of the differences between the Air 2 and the Air 2 Pro. I think the Air 2s don't have this feature, where these, instead of just slapping on that magnetic thing, which you can also do, you can toggle between the brightnesses of seeing through the lenses themselves. And it does work remarkably well. Like, I was sitting in a pretty sunny room, my sunny living room the other day, and when I had it all the way on kind of see-through, like the image would look a little bit washed out, but you could clearly see, around the screens, and I could see my environment. Think about it kind of like your VR headset pass-through. And then this other one, longer button, this is your volume button. But if you hold it, and then you'll hear a little beep, you're kind of toggling between showing and hiding what's on the screen and your volume control. And that took me a little bit to figure out, because I would be hitting the buttons and the volume wasn't doing anything. So it's got a little bit of a multifunction there. And really, that's about it. Of course, on the left side, as I said before, you have your USB-C port, which I have the included cable. I have that on there. And that's really the glasses. There's really not much more. There's no cameras on these or anything like that. They do have speakers in the sides of the glasses, kind of like the Meta Ray-Bans. And so you can hear the media actually quite well. And I would say it's rather comparable audio-wise to something like the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, for those familiar with those. I watched a couple of episodes of a TV show. I watched a part of a movie, and I tried a little bit of a game. So again, if you are fully sighted, no visual disability, these things are probably going to be pretty good for you. I'm trying to remember the exact number. I want to say it was like a 46 or 48 degree field of view. So like I said, it's basically like having a hovering big screen TV in front of you. And there's 2 problems with this as a low vision user. And well, for me as a low vision user, because again, that could very well depend on what type of vision impairment you have. What is your central acuity? How good is your central vision? Do you have any blind spots? Do you have any difficulty with your peripheral vision? And as my vision is, I can see the screens, I can see them, and it looks okay. Like, I was able to, like I said, watch a couple episodes and movies and such. I was not really able to play anything really well, because like with the interactivity, my vision just wasn't good enough for that. Now, you can hook these up. Again, These do not have any batteries in them. So the plus side and the downside is that you can literally any type of, or most type of USB devices. I tried it with my Steam Deck. I tried it with my iPhone 16 Pro Max, which also is USB-C now. You plug them in, and within about a second or two, you got the image on the screen, and you can use your phone. Your voiceover or your audio will go through the glasses as well. I was able to plug my Steam Deck in. That worked right away. Again, after a second, boom, it just came right up. You cannot just plug in the Switch. If you plug in the Nintendo Switch, it just does nothing. I don't know if that will change with the Switch 2 coming out soon, but who knows? So if you want to use the Nintendo Switch, then you would have to get their little, I can't remember the name of this stupid thing because I didn't buy it. But the little, again, it's like the little Android device that can manage additional types of video sources. And you can also plug in HDMI through that device as well. And I just wanted to get these glasses to really try them, to see if they work with my vision. And if they did, cool. I have a nice relaxing way to watch a big screen lying in bed, or when I'm on the train, maybe traveling home or something like that. Cool. So that's really what they hook up. But again, you're always going to have, if you want something truly wireless, these are not the devices. These are not the glasses that you want, because again, they don't have any battery in them. You have to power them. It gets the power from whatever USB device you connect to. So again, think about that as like you're using your Steam Deck, and that thing has maybe not so great battery life as it is, especially depending on how demanding the game is that you're playing. But then you add taking a little bit more juice to power these XReal glasses, and it's it is what it is. You've got the little cord hanging down, especially if you got that little adapter too. You're going to add a little bit of weight to it, but it's not as bad as it could be. Like I said, it worked reasonably well. And if that were the end of the story, I would say, if you don't mind a cord hanging down, kind of toward the back of your head, to your device, the audio quality is decent. The visual quality is decent. I wish that the screens could be a little bit bigger. But here we get to the low vision side, and I'll tell you my personal experiences, and you guys can kind of just leave it up to yourselves as to whether you think these would work well enough for you. So as I said, I watched a couple of TV shows. I watched a little bit of a movie. I tried to play a game on my Steam Deck, especially one that I'm very familiar with. And passively watching something, especially if I was familiar with it and just wanted to kick back and chill, or if I didn't really have to worry about, I want to see the fine details and catch up on all the visual cues of a movie that I hadn't seen before. Maybe not so much, but again, if I was watching something I was sort of familiar with or really didn't care, I could just listen and watch and get what I could out of it. It would be fine. So my vision, basically, and if you watch some of my VR content, some of my VR accessibility videos, a lot of my VR game spotlights, VR experience spotlights, in those videos, you may notice that, when you see the footage, it's often maybe a little bit skewed when you watch it back on the full screen, the flat screen. You notice that the images are a little bit off kilter to the left, and that's because I have my left eye is my better eye, and I have better central vision in my left eye, but unfortunately I have a little bit of a blind spot, my left peripheral vision. So the left side, if I'm looking kind of off to the left side of my face and want to catch something off to the side, my left peripheral vision is kind of garbage. Decent central vision, but my left peripheral vision is terrible. My right eye has a lot worse central vision, but my peripheral vision is way better. So when I look at these screens, and when if you're watching in my VR videos, what you kind of find, I have to consciously, when I'm doing the VR videos, I had to consciously go, okay, I'm really trying to show this accurately. I need to remind myself that I'm going to push my vision a little bit, tiny bit to the left, so it looks more centered for everybody else. As far as these glasses go, what I find, and here's the thing, is if you're just connecting these with the glasses with the device, like your phone or a Steam Deck, the screen does not move. Like when you move your head, it is a fixed distance in front of you. It does not, you can't really like move it closer or further away. You cannot like position it, more like right in the center or off to the side, maybe a little bit. Like you cannot move the screen. You cannot move the virtual screen in physical space. And I think like you might be able to do that a little bit more with the XReal 1 glasses, but again, I don't have a pair of those to really know for sure. And I know that you have a little bit more control if you use the little dock thingy that you can optionally buy for another couple or another $100. So my problem is that I could see the right half of the screen a bit better. But the left side, because I had that sort of blind spot for my left peripheral vision, I couldn't see it near as well. Like if I nudged my glasses, but then if you do that, then you're kind of bending the frames a little bit. You're bending the bows on the sides a little bit, and you don't want to do that over time because that's going to eventually wear them down. But like if I were able to somehow freely move the screen in the virtual space and maybe like 5 degrees to the right, it would help offset my weird vision impairment. And then I could actually see these a decent bit better because my central left eye vision would be able to kind of focus in on the entire screen more. And so when I tried this with my Steam Deck, I just threw on the TMNT Cowabunga collection and I was going to play some classic TMNT Turtles in Time. Love that game. And I could see part of it, but again, based on how far the screen was away, the size of it, and also that peripheral vision problem that I have, I was not able to see a lot of the detail that I needed. And like even like when I first started the game, my turtle was standing there and I could barely make him out. Like, I mean, it's a big sprite, so it's not like that it was a small sprite. But he was standing kind of on the left third of the screen. And so I just wasn't able to see that. I'm like, okay, well, clearly I'm going to be missing a section of whatever game I'm going to be trying to play. So damn, unfortunately, this isn't going to work for me as a gaming device because I just don't have the ability to move the screen closer or to move it more to the right to compensate for my peripheral vision loss. And so that's a bummer. And also, I tried all 3 of the little nose pieces that come with it, and they work, but I also found that they really didn't help that much. And what I found was that then the glasses were almost too high on my nose, and I was looking more at the lower part of the glasses, and then like just the way that they fit on my head, I was seeing the top half of the screen, but the way that the little screens in there, the way that they're arranged, like I wasn't seeing as much of the bottom of it. And so if I kind of slid the device a little bit more down my nose to where I was kind of looking more down into the screens, then I could see them, but it was just a little bit more awkward. So to me, again, having used VR and used virtual desktop and different things like that, or other apps where I've watched video content, you're going to have a much bigger field of view. B, it's going to be a lot closer to your face because that's what VR does. And even in a VR situation where, like like the Netflix app where you're sitting in a virtual movie theater or something like that, the screen is away from you. But again, I can freely turn my head left and right. And so that screen is not fixed. I mean, it's fixed, because I'm in sort of this environment room, I can still freely look in there because let's say that, the Netflix app, for instance, when I looked at it ages ago, you could have like a viewing party with multiple people. And so you may be able to see the other avatars. You could look around at each other and at the screen. I could compensate because I could just turn my head ever so slightly, and then I would be able to see the screen the way I could, and it wouldn't be as much of a problem. Now, I would still have the virtual distance problem of could I get any closer to that screen, especially in a game where I needed to see some UI or menu options. But for passively watching stuff, it was okay. These glasses, because I can't do that, at least without the little hub thingy that I connect, they just don't work for me. And so, can I use this to passively watch things? Yeah, I kind of can. And it's kind of cool. But even still, like I said, I'm only seeing a bit of the image clearly because of the way my vision is. And so will I use these a lot? I don't know. I don't know that I really will. And because I got them on sale, maybe I'm going to be meeting with a few people at work in the office the next couple of weeks. And I might just see if I can offer them, at the sale price that I paid, maybe knock off another $5 or something to incentivize them. Bring them to the office, have people try them out and say, hey, are you interested in these kind of things? You really want some of these? And I might just sell them because they're just not working for me the way I hoped. Again, I had middle of the road hopes for these. I thought there might be a little bit of a concern, but I thought I would be able to do a little bit. I would be able to see them a bit better than I can. So yeah, if you are, again, fully sighted, no vision impairment whatsoever, these things are probably pretty great. I've heard lots of great reviews, even for these, not even the XReal ones that are out now, as of a couple months ago. So people have really liked these as kind of a bigger secondary screen. Hell, you can plug your laptop into them. If you got a USB-C out and you can, like you would plug in a USB-C monitor, you could do that too. But again, I really wouldn't be able to do that either. And so for me personally, I just mostly wasted about $300. Which is unfortunate. But again, especially with the way things are these days, the frustrating thing is that I don't know if stores really have these to try them. I have not seen them. So you kind of just have to buy them, hope for the best, and either hopefully maybe get them returned or pawn them off, sell them on to somebody else if they don't work for you. But again, your average sighted user isn't going to have that problem, so it's not an issue. But for me, for those of us with vision impairments, that can kind of be a thing. So that is my review of the XReal Air 2 Pro, mouthful there, smart glasses. Basically putting a big second screen and audio on your face. In theory, it's a great idea. Because, I don't mind putting a VR headset on my head. I used to use VR all the time for gaming, for educational, entertainment, video stuff. And these are a heck of a lot lighter than even something like the Quest or any of your Quest headsets. So they have that going for it. but the field of view, and depending on how, like, what your vision is, if you have a vision impairment, when I think back to devices I've tried, like the eSight glasses that everyone raved about for a while, or that I should say that eSight really tried to sell off as more than what they were. They had a very similar problem. They weren't like a VR headset. They had these little screens, and you would see the image, through this little screen that you were looking off to in the distance, and it did not work for me at all. They brought them to work one time, and I got to try them, and no, even the later models of the eSight glasses, they just not a chance. And that's why I was a little bit skeptical of these XReals. It's like, well, the field of view seems bigger, but is it still going to give me the similar problems I had with things like the eSight? Or, again, it's really funny because a lot of the assistive technology companies, at least for a while, like there was another one I can't remember the name of that I had tried around the same time. This is probably, I did a video talking about these types of magnification headsets a few years ago. I can't remember if it was before, right after the pandemic. I think it was before. And I talked about how some of these, especially some of the traditional assistive technology companies, they would have these headsets and things, and they would do these screens that were off in the distance, and they clearly didn't seem to understand, because I was talking with the sales rep for one of those other devices, and I said, why do you do that? Like, you're looking through, again, think about looking through a monocular or putting a roll of toilet paper, a tube of toilet paper roll up to your eye, and you're looking through that tube. There's that virtual distance before you get to the image that you actually want to see. So you're designing these things for low vision users, but then you put the image, back a ways, so you're looking through some aspect of the device, and that just doesn't work for a lot of us, especially with more severe vision loss. And then you would come to these other places, or these other companies that would basically take your Samsung Gear VR, or they would make a custom kind of VR headset and slap a Samsung phone into it or something. Or I did a review on the channel for, it wasn't using a phone, Vision Buddy. Check out my Vision Buddy review, because even them, they were basically taking it from the perspective of, here is, you're almost like you're looking through a virtual reality headset. You have a much, much, much bigger field of view. The image is much closer to your face. And if you are looking at a virtual screen, again, you have the screen sort of off in the distance, but you can turn your head kind of left and right, or however, and you can view the screen from a little bit different angles to compensate for any peripheral vision loss that you have. And that, unfortunately, those types of things is, again, not something that the XReal glasses currently do. So yeah, especially in these trying times where everything is getting so dang expensive, I kind of blew $300 on these. So I'm going to either look into possibly returning them, but I also want to see, I work with a few other techie people at work, and I want to see if maybe they would be interested in, be like, hey, you want to buy these from me for maybe $300? I'll even throw in my little USB charger splitter adapter here, so you can see that, so you can have that. So that is my thoughts, my review on the XReal Air 2 Pro glasses. Very cool idea, lightweight idea. But if you have a vision impairment, well, buyer beware, I guess. And it'll be up to you as to whether you think your vision is good enough to where these might work for you or not. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. You can follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, Blue Sky at Illegally Cited, illegallicited.com, and right here on YouTube. Until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.